Internet, Web, Plain Talk, and I'm Norman Liss. The purpose of this program is to clarify the confusion that exists about the Internet and the World Wide Web. Maybe we're going to confuse you a little more today because we're introducing a word that may be new to some of you. It's called intranet. Not internet, but intranet. And my guest today, who I welcome back, is Tony Rizzaro, the president of Online Design. And he's going to give us the information that we need. All right, Tony, what's the difference between internet and intranet?
Well, it does sound confusing because intranet sounds like internet. But really all it is intranet is more of a consumer based network system that everyone's been using and having fun for some time. And intranet is a closed system. Closed?
What does that mean?
Well, it means that it's usually by invitation only. You can get into certain sites with the use of a password. It is protected, or we used to call it blind. It's a blind area of a site, which basically means that if you or I were to go on the internet right now and search for some sites, we'd see all the ones that are listed and open.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't see the closed sites. Or
why would people use a closed site? What's the purpose?
Well, when you say by invitation only, it means that you're asking someone or a group of individuals to come to your site or your area of your site, because as we've talked about, you can have a site that is open to everyone, but there could be a doorway or an opening in that site that is only by invitation only.
What you're saying then is if a company has a closed site, an intranet, then I could not access it.
No, you couldn't. It's closed, or it's protected by a password or some other.
What's the purpose? Why would an organization want to have a closed site?
Well, there really are many reasons, but the main reason is a confidentiality. I mean, you're opening up a certain area of your site to a select group or an individual because you just want them to see the information that you're putting there.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's a small.
Oh, no, not at all. As a matter of fact, some of the intranet areas of the site or areas of the internet are much, much larger than what the consumer or the shopper or a surfer may see. As a matter of fact, I think within the next 6 to 8 months, the intranet areas of these sites, the closed areas, will be 50 to 100% larger than the consumer sites that you see now.
So what you're saying is that organizations that have internet sites that are open to everyone have a portion of them that is intranet.
Yes.
Now, you brought along some illustrations, and I think this first one that you have here illustrates that very, very well. So this is a consumer site, isn't it?
Yes, this is a consumer site. It's for Shearing Plow, and they are animal health. An animal health organization. Right. They have medications for everything from large animal to small animals, for your cats and dogs and so on. But they also have an area of the site that's dedicated towards inter-office communications.
And that's tucked into a little corner of their homepage. Is this their homepage?
Yes, this is their homepage. And as you can see, there are two areas, one called Partners and one called Intra-Office. And Partners is an area by invitation only to some of their VIP customers that can go into this consumer site and get information that just pertains to them.
What sort of information? I don't want to ask you to give any confidentiality, but what sort of information might they give, or any organization might give?
Well, if you're talking about invitation-only areas, you're talking about things like what are some of the new advances that pertain just to that group? What are some of the benefits of being a VIP customer? Just like anyone who has, a customer base that is a VIP customer base. They usually get different types of benefits and services. Well, you could find those in this area.
Is it possible with an intranet to have different access for different types of people?
Absolutely. It's almost like saying, well, you have one site. And the reason why I refer to having one site is because most intranet is based on building a site that's both internet-based and intranet-based. But in that internet-based site, there could be many doors. There could be doors for VIP customers. There could be doors for employees only. There could be doors for potential new customers, special offers, that type of thing, and so on and so forth. It really is endless.
From what I hear, that has the most potential for growth now.
Yes, it does. It really does. And what a lot of people are finding is consumer-based sites should be, for the most part, working for them, getting them the results they need, and so on and so forth. But intranet sites are instant results, are extremely valuable because of the amount of information that's being either gathered or given, and so on and so forth. I mean, so the concentration of intranet applications it's growing so fast, and the potential is so great.
How is it blocked off? How do you only allow access? I think I look at this as broadcasting versus narrowcasting. But how do you clear a channel or open a channel so that only those people who have the key can come in?
Well, there's a few ways. And one of the most popular terms these days is something called a firewall. And a firewall is a protection device. It used to be a protection device, and now it's used more as an entry device. Firewalls are put in place to stop someone from entering a certain area of a site, to give high valued or consumer-based sites that need protection in the back end, the protection they need.
Is that security?
It's a security issue from someone coming in and changing their site or changing some of the information.
So that is now being applied to making it narrow. So only.
Yes.
So how does someone who is authorized get in through the firewall?
Mostly, it's a password. Sometimes it's a trap door, if you would. I mean, sometimes there are areas of sites put in the artwork. There are areas of the sites that are put behind logos or something where once you get in there, you need to follow a few procedures to get through the door. So, I mean, in a conventional sense, we call it a trap door.
I know, for example, at the Harvard Business School, a lot of the material is accessed online to anybody, but there are certain things that only faculty, staff, and students can get into. And there's some sort of access, which I'm not aware of, which allows them to do that.
Right, and that could either be a firewall, some sort of security device, a password, or a trapdoor. There's really a few ways to do it. Sometimes
is it built into the terminal to do that, so that only people who are coming in through a certain...
Yes, as a matter of fact, some of the larger sites are passing disks out that will allow something to be downloaded from, let's say, your machine. Let's say you got a disk today that you put into your machine, and it had an entry device already loaded onto it. We've done that with CD-ROMs, where a CD-ROM is sent out. There's an enormous amount of information on the CD-ROM, but when you load it, it sends a key to open that door when you get to the site. So there really are a few ways of doing it, but the most popular is password protected. You simply get a password.
Now, of course, you've done work and you've been doing this for some time on many industries. This one is bar laboratories.
Yes, this one is relatively new, and this one is Bar Laboratories, which is a pharmaceutical organization. And in their site, they also have areas that are just for intranet purposes.
And how is that queued so that how do people get to it?
In this particular case, there is a password-protected area. It's very straightforward. And if you know the password and you know where the doorway is, you're into that area. And it's usually invitation only or for employees of BAR.
What sort of information would employees get from an intranet site?
Well, not necessarily in this case, but in many are things like everything from what are the policy and procedures of my organization. Let's say I'm an employee of an organization. Vacation days, all the things that would normally come on paper. And then there are also things like incentive programs.
Individual personnel records?
To a degree, yes. Yes, you can find out all sorts of things on yourself, how you're doing with the organization, right down to how many sick days do you have left. And there's a lot of communications that go on, especially global organizations. We have some of our clients that are global by scope. You'd think that they were national, but when you really look at them, they're very global. And it's very hard to communicate to all their employees around the world. Well, with an intranet application, it's very simple.
But companies have always had a need to communicate within the organization and also to customers, suppliers, government, and everybody. And now, because the world is all linked together through the internet, they're able to do this in a different way.
And a less expensive
That's what
way.
I was going to ask you. How does it compare on a cost basis?
Well, the way we used to do it was building networks. And of course, we're not network builders, so we would subcontract something like that. But it's very, very expensive. I mean, $500,000 or so on. But there was that need, as you said, for the organization to communicate. They have to communicate to their employees, to subsidiaries, satellite offices, and so on and so forth. So to implement a network that would allow them to do that would be very, very costly. Well, now, in using the internet, which is a global network that exists, they're just utilizing the hardware that's already in place. And all we're saying now is instead of building your own hardware, your own network to communicate that important information that you need to, use something that exists, protect it, so that only those people that are invited can come in, and you've got yourself an intranet application, and you've got an enormous amount of communication with all of your company employees and so on.
You do this mostly for large companies. Now, you've recently done something for IBM. Is that an intranet application?
Yeah, it really is. It's intranet because it was based on a mailer piece, a direct mail piece that was sent out to certain individuals, and those certain individuals were invited to come to this site. This is not a site that if you were on the internet and you were looking for something IBM, you'd necessarily come across. This is a site that you got a direct mail piece in the mail, and you were asked to answer some questions, but instead of filling it out on that little mailer and putting it in an envelope and sending it back, you were able to go to this site, introduce yourself, and answer the questions electronically and get instant feedback and so on and so forth.
Now, this is by invitation only. Is there a password involved?
Yes, there's a password.
There is also a password,
Yes.
which is part of the mailing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, each mailing had a password, and the password allowed you in, or...
So the question here is that anybody who got that mailing piece could use that password, and if they wanted to share it with someone else, they could do that.
They could, but once they're in, there are scripts. They're called CGI scripts or Perl scripts. Just like in direct response, you need to keep tabs on, are there duplicates showing up? Is someone else using a password? So yes, you could, just like anything, if I gave you a key to a room behind me, could you go and make a copy? Yes, sure you could.
Sure.
But once you got in, you'd have to be identified as you. So there are scripts that say that try to verify it's you. I could get the mustache and try to get through that door myself, but it's the same thing electronically. There's something there to ask you more than just, do you have the right key?
We've been talking primarily about large companies, global, national, regional. How does intranet apply to smaller companies?
Well, it's an important issue for smaller companies. I think in some cases, just as important as their internet presence. The biggest question is, do I need a site? That's a large question for a small company anyway.
Does a company need a site? A survey was recently done among small companies in the communications field, and it was very unscientific. And the question was asked, do you have a website? A very tiny percentage of people in the various phases of the communications business had a website. Mm-hmm. And many of them said, not yet.
Right.
Why not now is my question to you.
It's a good question. Why not now?
Or I'll put it another way, Tony. Why now?
Okay. Well, why now is answered by one very important question. Why would you need it? What would you gain from it? That's the first question we ask our clients. What would you like to gain out of this? Or we try to help them figure out what there is to gain from this. Because once you answer that question, then the rest is easy. It's production, design, so on.
Is there something to gain for every organization, large or small?
Not really. I mean, not everyone should have a site yet. That's the key. Because you're talking to the users of the internet. And the users of the internet, if your customers or your potential customers or those that you need to talk to are on the internet, yes, absolutely you should be on. And you should be on now, because now you're building the foundation for the future of your sites. Let's say that your client or your customers are out there, they're on the internet, and you're not. Not only are you losing potential customers, and the look and feel or the positioning, let's call it, of your organization is not as it should be. Mm-hmm. People aren't seeing, well, they're not on the internet. They're not exactly technically.
So it has some prestige.
Oh, sure, it has prestige. But more importantly, by getting on the internet now, you're building a solid foundation while the internet is still growing at a fast pace. That foundation, and we could talk about what that foundation means, but that foundation grows as the internet grows.
I want to get into the subject of the foundation and how to get people to come to your site. But first, I do want to remind our viewers that my guest today is Tony Rizzaro, the president of Online Design. And what we're talking about is basically the intranet, how companies are using the internet for internal communication to a select list of people who only come in through some key, some password. And we're also going to talk today about how do you get people to come to your site. So, Tony, let's get into the subject of the foundation. What's the foundation?
Well, the foundation is if you're on. You said why now or
why not now?
Why not now? The technology, the infrastructure, the popularity, the usage of the internet, as you know, has grown phenomenally. And I know there was a lot of hype over the last few years about this massive growth, but it has been proven that there's been an enormous amount of growth on the internet. Well, let's just say in non-technical terms, if you were to go out, and I know this might sound a little corny, but if you were to go out to the Wild West and stake a claim and build on that claim, and people knew where you were, they knew where to find your store in the middle of this new town, and you became entrenched in that town, well, it's very similar to what's happening on the internet. That foundation is, well, now I know where to find you. I know what you're offering.
All right? But here we go. How do you get people to come to your site?
Well, that's another good question. I mean, publicize yourself,
that's
market
such a broad
yourself.
term.
It is, and we can get a little bit more specific, but both on and off the internet.
Some of the ways. How do we do that?
Well, off the internet is by the easiest thing to do is get your address to be known. Put it on either your packaging or your mailers or your business card. Put your email address, and this is a difference. A lot of people think that their email, my internet address is on my business card. I've had this happen to me so many times, where people have given me their card and it's their.
Clarify the difference for our viewers.
Major difference. An email address is a one-on-one conversation with someone. That means that I'm talking to you and you're talking to me. That's our email. It's almost
it's like sending mail to somebody.
Exactly.
You need their street address.
Yes, I sent you a letter, and it was addressed to your street address. But you and I are having a conversation in that letter. An internet site address is something that's open to everyone. Anyone can, unless it's closed and it's an intranet.
Right, sure.
But it's open to everyone and anyone who wants to come and see it. It's no longer a one-on-one conversation. It's a conversation with everyone. And the difference usually is seen by the www prefix. www.
Which stands for World Wide Web.
Right. That usually indicates that it's a site and not an email address.
It's like posting a billboard everywhere in the world.
That's right.
That everybody can see.
That's right.
But the question is, how do you get people to come and look at your billboard? And how do you do that? That seems to be the key of. Also answers the questions of why now.
Yes, it does, and it usually, or at least right now, is indicative of is your site a success or not. And it's based solely on in some cases on traffic, and that traffic is measured by hits.
How many times someone comes and looks at your billboard or
technically
your
a hit is a little bit more involved than that, but really what it is yes, it's a measurement, it's a unit of measure of how many people are coming to your site, how many people are coming to your location. How do you get them there? Again, conventionally, get your name out there. Get your name on your ads, your business cards, get your site address on as many things as you can. Some of our customers, I would say most of our customers, putting it right on their product labels.
On the product label.
Yes, they're putting them on the product labels and they're putting them on their business cards.
I'm seeing, Tony, in a lot of the publications that I read, newspapers, magazines, that they are devoting space to websites. Mm-hmm. So here's a subject, and here's how you can learn more about it. There was a story in the New York Times the other day about finding map locations.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then they list 4 or 5 different websites where you can get a map to tell you how to get anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And they're very good.
So the media, the print media, magazines included, and television, are saying, if you want to know more about this subject, this is where to go.
Right.
Now, that means to anybody who has a website that they should get that information to the media so that they can include them in the listings of where they go.
Absolutely. I mean, when we said, there's 2 ways of doing it, one is conventional and one is online, conventional is very important. I mean, if you have something valuable, like what you're talking about now, those are great sites, by the way. I've been there. They're fantastic. If you wanted to go anywhere, you can get a map. Let some of the, as you said, some of these editors know that what you've got, and they are very excited about these new value-added types of sites.
Yes.
So people will be introduced to what you have to offer in the paper or in the magazine and so on, and go to the site. And I've seen that happen in many instances where there's an introduction somewhere. Even if someone has an ad and at the bottom is the address, let's say that you looked at an ad for a car and you wanted to know more information about that car, well, you go to the site and there's all the information you could want. If you saw a movie trailer, I've seen this a lot and I'm sure you have, a lot of the movie trailers these days give you the introduction to the movie on television or in the movie theater, but at the bottom or at the end of the commercial is the site, so you can go and find out even more about that movie and to see if you...
In keeping with that, Tony, how does one get in touch with you, Tony Rizzaro, at Online Design to find out more information about this subject that we're discussing? Now, there are several ways, aren't there?
Yes, there are.
There is the old-fashioned way, which is a telephone, and let's give that telephone number.
Sure. Thanks. The telephone number is 914-835-6000.
And we're going to put that up on the screen afterwards. But we're also going to put up an email address that you have.
That's right.
So if someone wants to communicate to you directly online, they can do that. And how do they do that?
That's as simple as typing in Tony at onlinedesign.com. That's my email address.
So if someone wants to directly communicate to you and get a response from you online, that's the way they do it.
That's right.
But what if someone wants to just get information that you may have put out there? You have your own website.
Yes, we have our own website.
And so someone can go to their computer and type in what to see your website?
onlinedesign.com.
That's HTTP.
Well, the www. HTTP
/ www.onlinedesign.com.
Yeah.
Now, that sounds like a long address. I've seen them much, much longer. Why are the addresses so long?
Well, it's a technical protocol is really what it is. And you might say that an objective is to try to get it as small as you can. But technically, you need all of that.
It's a path, isn't it?
It's really what it is. It's a street address, like what you were saying earlier, almost like you're giving someone an address where they can find you or your site. And it's really just technical protocol to enable them to get there.
It reminds me of the old days when all you needed to reach someone by telephone is to dial number 1 or tell the operator before they had dialing, or number 17 and so on. And then you had to have a 4-number exchange, then exchange with a name, and then 7 numbers. And now with going out of the state or out of your area, you've got to dial 11 numbers. 914 and 3 numbers, and then 4 numbers, getting longer and longer and longer as more and more people get into it.
That's right.
But eventually, it shrinks back, like automatic dialing on your telephone.
Yes.
How does that happen so that you have such a short address for your site?
Well, it's any site that would like a short address could get around that to a degree if they can get their domain name, which is the name of their site, listed before someone else does. That really is what it comes down to. And also, if you
How do you get it listed?
You go through either your service provider, which is someone that provides you service to the internet, either a local phone company, or there are so many service providers these days. But you can do it that way, or do it yourself through Internic, which is the
Internic,
NIC, yeah. And they are the holders of all names. We think of them as the internet in the sky because they hold all the domain names.
And it's not that expensive, is it?
No, it really isn't that expensive at all. It starts as $50 and $75 and goes up to $200 depending on how you go about doing it.
You really feel that intranet is not only the wave of the future, but the wave of today?
Yes, I do. Absolutely, I do.
We've talked about this. I've talked to you about it and others. It's all changing. Nobody knows where it's going tomorrow. And it's a growing, changing, completely different world of the internet. Nobody knows where it's going tomorrow, but I know where we're going now because we run out of time. And I thank you very much for coming and explaining the intranet and bringing us up to date on developments. We're talking today to Tony Rizzaro, who's the president of Online Design. We've discussed the intranet, where it's going, where it is. People are getting on board. I think eventually we'll all be there, either to give information or to get information. Keep your ears open, keep your eyes open, because it's going to happen here. I'm Norman Liss. The name of the show is Internet Web Plain Talk. Until next time, keep looking.